All right. Welcome everyone to this, our third session of Apocalypse Keys, which I have titled Behind the 12th Door. This is our November series of Gauntlet Hangouts games set in a Hellboy B.P.R.D. style world where we are trying to investigate some kind of murders that have been happening in the old city of Florence. And so we will be exploring that, figuring out kind of a whodunit mystery. And so we are using a couple of safety tools tonight. We are using the X card. We are using lines and veils, which I have already gone over with everybody. We are using the script change if absolutely needed, and we of course are using the open door policy. Information about that will be in the description of the video if anybody needs to go and learn about those things, as well as links to the game and links to the Gauntlet community where this game was set up. With that, I will introduce myself and then we'll kind of go around and introduce each other. My name is Sam Zimmerman. I use the he and him pronouns. I am the GM for this session, or the master of, the keeper of the doors, I think is the official title in this game. Very fun and thematic. So I will be playing lots of the NPC characters and kind of building our mystery as we go. Jex, why don't you introduce yourself, your pronouns, and your character?
Hi, I'm Jex, they, them, and I am playing Novella Teague, creepy ghost lady, and you'll learn more about her later.
Thanks. Next on my screen, we have Brandon.
Hi there, my name's Brandon. He, him. I am playing Hope, the last time-traveling replicant.
That is a good description. Chris.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Newton. I go by he, him pronouns. I'll be playing Giannis, the trying to remember the name of the playbook now. The Found. He's a interdimensional, somewhat unwilling refugee that has been picked up by the department to assist them in their mission to avert the end of the world. He has a let's say a fraught relationship with this universe's physics, and that from that springs a lot of his weird abilities.
Very good. And then last but not least, Dan.
Hello, my name is Dan. My pronouns are he and him. I'm playing Sojourn. She's the pure. She is alive with angelic fury. But she's been around for a while, so she's from the mid-19th century.
And so, quick recap of the last two sessions. In our first session, the group got together and around the Cape Horn, and we're out kind of on the southern tip of Argentina, investigating some mysterious earthquakes that were happening, and found a sorceress who was uncovering some ancient relic that they managed to obliterate, or I should say Sojourn managed to absolutely obliterate. And while the sorceress, whose name I don't remember, Lily Kennewick, managed to get away, the group all managed to get back to the division in one piece. And there they ran into their kind of handler, their boss, whose name is Daryl Kennedy, but most people just know him as White Fang. He was a division agent for a long time and has now kind of moved up and become more administrative. But he and the other admin folks at division were not happy or frustrated at life in general and kind of took that out on you guys because they have been losing teams left and right to this threat. This cabal of sorcerers who have been kind of wreaking havoc and taking out significant, I think 5 out of the 10 teams at division have been eliminated. And so they were, the group of you decided to take matters into your own hands, run away from the division headquarters, and make your way to Florence, which is the last known position of one of the teams. In Florence, you guys met up with Isadora, who is the your contact. She was the rival of, I believe, Sojourn. Let me double check that.
Yep.
But she is kind of is an ex-villain. She lives in Florence now and has been kind of making a living off of division, like scarce division funds and some pickpocket money that she can get. And so you four are currently in her little kind of apartment. It's basically a back storeroom of a gelateria, where she is holed up and living on a bunch of milk crates. And she has just given you a couple of clues. So the clues that you guys have at this point, you guys have a kind of a clump, a mass of brown, thick animal hair that's almost like horse hair or goat hair, that looks like it was ripped off of something. And that was found on the body of one of the victims of these murders. And you also have a location of a warehouse where the bodies of the last division team were found. Or sorry, not found, are being stored, I should say. So with that,
So yeah, Janus, so just to be clear, we are AWOL.
mhm.
Yeah, I was hoping that was the case because otherwise the division was sorely lacking in funds if we're being housed in the back room of a gelateria. As awesome as that is,
No, that's Isadora's crappy place.
Yep.
I disagree
think
with
she should
crappy, but okay.
She doesn't even get line cutting privileges. Are you kidding?
Oh well, that's sad, but
She
still.
does get as many free pecans as she can pull out of the bag. So,
Oh, wow! I'm so impressed.
So just a bit of mechanical stuff. The location of the warehouse is not a key officially. That is just information that you guys were given as a
Right.
kind of a helpful thing. That is an active case information. The clump of hair is a key and does count towards the number that you guys are going to be reaching towards. So, I want to ask, Novella, you were here before, and you've been here a couple of times. How do you know, or when was the last time that you ran into Adriano Russo, who is the current police chief?
Well, if she's the current police chief, my initial answer of "while I was still alive" probably doesn't work, or maybe it does. I don't know. I think that I was here on a mission, like 10 or 15 years ago,
Mhm.
and she wasn't the chief yet. She was just, maybe she's just like a beat cop at that time, and I was trying to sort of maintain my cover and not be found out as a ghost who has a sister ghost traveling with her at all times. But she caught me basically. Was not weirded out, and I think confided that she has experience with ghosts.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's been about 15 years.
Okay, I will point out that Adriano is a he.
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
That's okay. So Adriano is he was a beat cop at the time, and has now kind of moved up the ranks, and he is the current chief of police. And so you guys also have that contact if you want to lean into that. Who is interested in going to the warehouse, and who's interested in going and kind of talking up this police chief? Because if you guys recall, I don't know if I actually explained this the first time through. The mystery that you guys are actually solving here, there was a string of almost a dozen political murders that happened in Florence. Each one of the murders was an influential person, a banker, a politician, a wealthy business owner, somebody who had a lot of sway and talk in the city. And every single murder was kind of an open and shut case. There was a very clear perpetrator, there was a very clear motive and cause of death, and everything lined up, and each one was just kind of dealt with. But there were an awful lot of them, all in a very short period of time. And so, for whatever reason, Division decided that they would get involved and sent a team.
Gotcha.
That team all murdered each other within a week of being in the city. And Isadora managed to kind of stay out of the way enough that she wasn't involved in this, even though she was their contact, and it basically chickened out and is trying to keep her head down and not get punished by Division for letting all of this happen.
I mean, I'm definitely going to go see Adriano.
Okay.
Prefer not to go alone, but
Well, there are four of us. I think I might probably be more valuable looking in on the warehouse with somebody.
In the chat, it looks like Giannis, you're interested in going to see the warehouse? Okay.
That's good.
Sojourn, you and me.
I guess you're taking the muscle.
Yeah. I mean,
All
a
right,
lot's changed in 15 years, so.
Never know.
Never know. So let's go to the warehouse first. So on the south side of the city, kind of up in the hills a little bit, there's a kind of a rundown gray warehouse that is the kind of out of place in the more kind of stucco brown toned buildings that typically line this area of the city. And it's not that difficult to find it once you get out of the downtown proper. The street is pretty desolate, honestly. There's not a lot of stuff here. Most of the city of Florence has kind of left for vacation. This is high vacation season for the vast majority of the locals, and so anywhere that's not tourist driven is pretty much dead. So I'm interested, Chris and Brandon, why don't each of you give me something that immediately makes you know that division is involved in this warehouse?
I would say that it's suspiciously
Can you repeat that? I didn't catch
Cut
the
out.
end of it.
it's the warehouse is suspiciously nondescript. Like most warehouses will have like you can see old logos of various businesses that have been like covered over a couple of coats of paint. The division doesn't do that. It everything is just conspicuously blank, and it has this sort of almost sculpted abandonment to it. Like it's trying to look like there's nothing to see here. Really hard, kind of like the only way it could be more obvious about it is if it had Leslie Nielsen standing out front yelling at people that there was nothing to see, that sort of thing. Like it's quiet. It's entirely inoffensive, very bland looking, and all of those things just make it stick out like a sore thumb because you can't have all of that stuff together. It draws attention by not drawing attention to it. It's that sort of place.
I love that. That's great. Brandon?
You see the loading dock door, and then you see those two doors on the side. None of those doors are real. They are really good fakes. They look like they would open, and then they're none of them doors. I bet if we went all around the building, none of those the things that look like doors are actually doors, and that the entrance is from the underneath, from a tunnel or something. But those are all fake.
I like that. There's some
Even though
secret
you see
entrance.
that one's even got like a little security camera over it, as if you could go through that door, as if anyone ever used that door.
I love that. That's great. So you guys know that the division warehouses typically don't have a simple, easy to access entrance. Any ideas on how you're going to get into this warehouse? You guys are technically on the run from division.
Giannis, after this, can we talk about something?
Sure.
Because I noticed
Sure.
you haven't mentioned anything about what happened when we left division headquarters last time, and I'm used to Sojourn not talking about these sort of things, but I think it's kind of. But I'm wondering why you're not talking about it. We'll deal with that later. Okay.
Okay. I'm not sure I understand everything that happened, and maybe that's why. But
nobody understands, and yet nobody's asked me about it, which makes me a little afraid. Actually.
Do you know about it? Could you explain it? Because I'm not. Well, okay.
Yes, I can explain. Do you want me to do this now?
Well, maybe not now. Maybe we need to find out how to get into the warehouse thing and.
Okay.
You know, just.
All right. What can you figure out what corner is the least important? The least likely to have someone or something right behind it.
I think I might be able to figure out which corner. Which corner is the most bored. Just give me a moment to walk around.
Yeah.
And Giannis like barefoot in his like, in his weird combo of like skinny jeans, bare feet, ridiculously oversized, like it looks almost like a small throw rug or like a giant Snuggie blanket that he's wrapped around himself. Is basically just walking around the exterior of the building, around to each corner, and is brushing with his hand each corner of this building. And after making one pass like that, I think he's going to basically attempt to kind of open his senses and see basically if he can get a feel for which corner has been paid the most attention to. In his mind, he's thinking the corner that's just most bored and sad and is feeling lonely. But it will be the corner where there's just not as many people, not as many eyes on it, etc.
I like that.
So I'm not sure exactly which move that would be, though.
I think this
Be the monster.
this could either be the monster or grasping for keys, potentially, if you're trying to look. You are using your powers of darkness to gather information, which is exactly what that move calls.
I mean, it is technically that. I'm not sure if he's technically searching for a real key yet, but he could stumble across one while opening his senses like this here. So
I think
Okay.
I think that's what we're gonna lean into there.
Okay,
okay,
cool.
all right. And I don't have any current darkness tokens.
You should get some.
Yes, I'll have to.
Do you want to talk about it?
Well, I think he's. I mean, technically he's uncertain. I think I mentioned that earlier. Like he's not sure exactly why we're so much on the outs with the division. Like part of it is probably Janus just not understanding, like his grasp on how things work.
Well, except that Hope is upset.
Yeah, he can recognize the emotional state. I think he's kind of puzzled as to what the division's end of thing is. Like we do upsetting things all the time. And a lot of us are almost always upset. Some of us are always upset about something we're having to do or that we've done. But this going on the outs with the division is something new to him. So he's having some trouble conceiving that. So I think maybe he's got like maybe one darkness token just from that feeling like that. And then he'll spend it on this roll, I think. And if memory serves, I spend the darkness token and it gives me a +1 per darkness token spent.
Yes.
Yep,
All right, that's a total of 7.
that is a 7.
Okay.
So, do
But
you
wait.
want to spend a bond and bump that up to an 8? Because otherwise, we are in 7- territory here.
Well, I have 2 bonds with Hope, and I'm happy to spend. We are kind of on this together, and I'm doing this to help Hope.
Yeah, help. Hope. How do you help out while this is going on?
I'm helping by saying, look, I'll explain it. I'll explain everything I know afterwards, okay? I just need you to focus on this now. Do this now.
And I think that would kind of settle Janus's confusion enough to allow him to get the reading I think we need.
Yeah, I love that. So, you make your way around this building, poking, prodding, trying to feel the emotions of the bricks, the stones, the insects living inside, understanding, thinking, smelling, hearing, everything that's kind of going on outside this little warehouse. And you find an area that feels like it seems to be vacant of most human interaction. You can feel some mold that hasn't been tended to in a long time. There's some termites that have moved in because they know that this is where they can stay hidden and avoid prying eyes. And so I think you pretty easily find your entrance location. Hope, how are you using this? Because you're the one who asked for this in the first place.
Yeah, this is it, right?
And I think Giannis sort of, rubs, pats the corner almost affectionately, like he's maybe comforting it.
Yeah.
And he says, yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, give me your arm.
He does so.
Okay. Stepping through the wall.
And
For anybody else, this would be weird and off-putting, but Giannis is like, oh, well, so we can do that. I didn't know. I always butted my head against those when I did that before, but hey, this is much better. It makes a lot more sense.
Well, you could probably do it if you tried really hard. Or if you didn't think about it.
It's happened a couple of times by accident. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how, and I've never been able to actually technically recreate it consciously. So this is good. This is a good experience. And the space is feeling much better. It's feeling like someone is paying attention to it now. So that was good. That we did a good thing.
We're not done yet.
So you guys pop into an office. What looks to be maybe like a supervisor's office or something like that, back when this was used as an actual kind of industrial warehouse. And it looks like it hasn't been touched in probably 20 years. The door is boarded up. There's there's dust that kind of coats every single surface inside this little room, and the one remaining kind of light fixture that's hanging from the center of the ceiling is vastly out of date. It looks like it was pulled straight out of the 70s. And as you guys are poking around in the room, you hear the sound of what can only be described as like a horse walking around, but it sounds like it's coming from the ceiling. And that is your key.
Does it sound like it's coming from the interior of the ceiling or from like the floor above us and we're hearing it through the ceiling?
It sounds like there is a horse walking around in the floor above you.
Okay. So not here in the room with us, but just right above us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Did this, and Giannis looks a little disoriented for a second. Did this have a second floor? Like, it didn't feel like we came in on a second floor. Or it didn't feel like there would be enough space for another floor. Did we move down? I might not have noticed.
I don't think so, but
my sixth dimensional orientation is
this wouldn't be
off in this universe.
This wouldn't be the only building I've ever seen that was different on the inside than it was on the outside.
Oh, you have those too. I didn't realize there were that many of them here.
Well, sorry. I mean, I'm not. Magic's not my area of expertise, but sorcerer's spaces sometimes are like that.
Yeah, I'm not good with magic either. It seems to have weird rules. I don't understand them.
We need to get a look at that thing. Which might be hard without being spotted.
I think as you say that, we are going to cut to the other group. Sojourn, you are the one who is currently visible to the clerk who is kind of manning this police station as you it's 2 in the afternoon, the middle of the week. There's not really a lot going on. I think there's a small line of people who are there to file reports on petty theft type reports. It looks to be a pretty slow day. And this young woman behind the counter is entirely uninterested in anything that's going on, and she is happily clacking away at the computer in front of her. How do you get her attention?
I just simply say, we want to see Russo.
I think she does the slow look up at you while she's still typing. Take a form, and then she looks back at the computer and continues typing. And you can see that there's 6 different forms that are all laid out.
I say, we want to see Russo, and my voice has an edge to it.
Are you unleashing the dark, or are you trying to listen to the dark and keep yourself in check?
I'm I guess reach for the light is more with another PC. Is that right?
Reach for the light would be if you're trying to connect with her on some level. Unleash the dark. Unleash the dark is I want you to do the thing that I am telling you to do.
In my own way, I'm trying to connect with her, but I think that is unleashing the dark.
Yep.
I look at Novella, and I'm like, we can't just walk in.
Well, I mean, we could, but maybe we shouldn't. And Novella just briefly sort of moves her hand and makes some shadows kind of start creeping up the walls a little bit, and then back down again.
Sam, I guess you're asking me to roll for this.
It depends on So are you?
Yeah.
I think it sounds like
I'm
you're
not filling out
unleashing.
form.
No, yeah, no.
I'm gonna roll with 1 darkness.
Okay.
And sorry, I'm just reading my on knife's edge move. No, I think I better. That's bad. I think I better stick with the darkness. All right.
Yeah, that's your big kind of Nova move.
Right.
I don't think that's. I don't think this is the appropriate
There's
time.
time and a place for that, and this is not that time or place.
I will destroy you.
Although you do get my darkness is never leashed if you do roll unleash the dark.
I rolled an
Hey.
8. Yeah.
That is right on the money.
Yes.
So on an 8 to 10, you wield the darkness with precision. Choose 2.
I will get what I want from them, and I will avoid reprisals, harm, or cost. Please.
Okay. And what are you picking from your My Darkness Is Never Leashed
All right.
questions?
They will tell me more than they wanted to.
Okay. Okay, I like this. And I think how are you going about this like forceful entry? Is this just threats? Is this
It's not threats, but I think between Novella's shadows and I think my voice takes on kind of the timbre of angelic fury. Eyes glow, and I have a commanding enough presence where she looks away from her screen and sort of understands what she is, or doesn't understand, but sort of acknowledges that she is looking at someone who is not ordinary. I think the 19th century garb alone is striking, but I think also just her demeanor. We're not going full wings and anything like that.
Yeah, I think she like looks up at you just like, hey, if you want to go see him, then I'm not going to stop you. He might be kind of annoyed. He's meeting with the city clerk right now, but you might want to. That's on you. If you want to go and interrupt his meeting, then I'm not going to stop you. It's the third door from the left.
And I turn and walk towards.
I follow.
So it's a very short little hallway. This is not a big precinct, but you manage to find the door that has Adriano Russo's name on it, police chief, and it's not locked. It's closed, and you can hear voices coming from the other side.
I open the door, but I sort of gesture for Novella to go in front.
Clara and I glide through in a creepy manner like only a ghost can do. Does the city what's his face have a name?
The city clerk, she is a mid 30s woman. She has she's got this very short cut black hair with this asymmetrical kind of undercut. She really does not look the part of a like high-ranking city official. But I think you glide into the room and Adriano kind of looks at you in surprise, and this woman just like leaps out of her chair backwards and like stumbles over herself on the floor.
Sorry, I do that sometimes. So I'm wondering if I can use your reputation precedes you with her. When you first encounter a named NPC, faction, or monster, you may declare that they have intimate ties with the vision. Yes. This is going to put me way over on darkness. But if I do that, I take 3 tokens of darkness, and you tell me something significant and valuable, even on a miss. So that momentarily puts me at 8 darkness. I'm going to spend 2 of those on this roll. There's a 12. So
all right. So
it doesn't say what happens on 11 plus, but I do still get something valuable, I would think, right? Am I missing?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, so I think it's the 11 plus is you get the valuable information, but you don't get the bonus thing. So, we'll deal with the going wildly over on darkness tokens in a second.
Mhm.
This woman's name is Michaela Trenty, and she is kind of a aspiring politician. She was a kind of a low-ranking political member until about a month ago, when a series of political murders ended up that she is like now the second highest ranking person in the city, just because that's who's left. And so she is fairly young and not at all prepared for what's going on. And you get to say something that ties her back to division, if I'm reading that rule correctly.
Yeah. Well, I just declare that they have ties, I think. And
Okay.
then take darkness tokens.
I'm interested in what you think her ties are.
Yeah. I say, I'm really sorry, miss. I didn't mean to startle you. You just look a lot like someone I know. And she is the spitting image of one of the folks on one of the other division teams. I don't have a name generator up, but I think this is someone that's like, she's not a monster. She's like one of the human team members, but is like tough as nails and can pretty much hold her own with the monsters.
I like that. Why don't we have that be her twin sister?
Okay. Do you have a sister?
And she like picks herself up off the floor and kind of staggers to her feet a little bit, looking back and forth between you, Sojourn, who is now walking into the room, and this Adriano, who is kind of cool as a cucumber at this point. And
Yes, it's quite startling, but
what? Oh, God. I knew that Maria would get into trouble. Why? What are you? And why are
I'm
you
a
talking to
ghost.
me?
I'm a ghost. This is my sister, also a ghost, and this is Sojourn. She's like a cowboy angel or something. I don't fucking know. But we're actually here to see Adriano. But I think that you might be able to be of assistance to us as well.
And Adriano kind of like rolls his eyes. Did you have to barge in on my meeting?
Ask that one.
There's a process for this. You know I would have talked to you.
No time for forms.
I don't believe that we
Thanks
have
for
been
your
introduced.
Oh, I'm so rude. I'm sorry, Adriano. This is Sojourn. She's a good friend of mine. She's known me since I died.
All right then. Well, with esteemed guests like this, I should pull you up a chair, but unfortunately there's not a whole lot of room in here to store extra furniture. What can I do for you?
We're here to investigate some of these assassinations that have been going on. As you are no doubt aware, the division was quite interested. But we're kind of here on only semi-official business. I'm just wondering if you can tell us what you know and maybe who stood to benefit from these assassinations. And I stare at Michaela.
He sighs. He was just in here. Look, we're busy enough as it is. We've got the worst staffing issues ever. We are horribly spread thin right now. We've got half of our forces out on vacation this month, and we've got we've got almost 50% more tourists than we normally do, and it's an absolute nightmare. These are all open and shut cases. This is nothing that you guys need to worry about. Why are you so insistent on this?
Answer the question.
Who stands to gain? Well, the people who are still alive have something to gain, I suppose. If you are assuming that this is some grand conspiracy of whatever you want to call it. But-
Adriano, you know it's almost always a grand conspiracy. You remember
not.
15 years ago.
That was one time.
The obelisk, the Masons.
Illuminati.
Yes,
They
we
were all there.
dealt with that. They're gone now. That's it. So, why did my background change by itself? I didn't do that.
We're
did.
playing a cyberpunk game
We're
now.
playing a cyberpunk game now. Okay, that was interesting.
Hey, don't.
I hack into Adriano.
There we go. Okay, that was strange.
Hope reacts in terror.
He. Now I've lost my train of thought. I think he kind of shakes his head. I mean, every single one of the people who we pulled in had a very clear motive. Look, he gestures at Michaela. Your boss was sleeping with his wife, with sleeping around, and his wife killed him. That's it. How open and shut do you get besides that? Every single one of these cases is like, what more motive do you need?
Isn't that itself suspicious to you, Adriano? How often are murders this easy to solve? You've been doing this a long time, my friend. And this many murders, all at once, all open and shut? That's unheard of in the history of homicides. I've been around quite a long time. I've seen a lot of homicides. I was there in Whitechapel. I know.
I think Michaela kind of pipes up. I have to agree with the ghost. Like, this is, this is strange. Is someone willing to roll some dice here? Are we grasping for keys, or are we trying to convince him to give us something?
I mean, I'm willing to try to convince him to give us something, but I guess I don't know exactly what I want him, because I feel like he's probably telling the truth, or at least what he wants to be the truth.
Unless he's purposefully leaving out a detail or something, or it was too easy and he appreciated how easy it was, so he expected some
right. Like he kind of maybe set some evidence aside because it.
So Sojourn can apply some pressure.
We'll play good ghost, bad cowboy.
Guys for key.
Should we do the key?
Look at it. Look at the records and maybe see if there's a key in there.
I like that. So I'm going to say, show us the files, and we will montage
I like that.
looking at the files.
So,
sorry, Jex, did you want to roll for the grasping the keys?
It doesn't make a difference to me.
I'm gonna have Dan roll grasping for keys, and at the same time, I'm gonna have
Oh boy.
Novella, roll for corrupt your soul.
Yeah.
What does the darkness demand of you in this moment?
So the darkness usually demands of me to break the veil between the living and dead and to kill death. What does that look like here?
Do the ghosts that are stuck in this world because their murders were never solved live at the police station?
That's pretty dope. I like that. Yeah,
You're
or
gonna break the police.
at least the ones who like their murder like should have been solved and maybe wasn't through like police negligence or like laziness. Yeah, I think a lot of those ghosts probably reside here, or anyone who like died in their like holding cells.
Yeah. And I think your presence is kind of pulling them all out of the woodwork. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
roll plus 3 tokens.
All right. And that burns the tokens, right?
Uh,
Or it depends how it goes, right? I think.
so you always burn 3 tokens, but
Mhm.
on a 7- you get to keep the rest of them.
Okay. Okay.
You get to keep the ones that you rolled with. So that is a 10. That is awesome. So on an 8 to 10, something in you stirs and awakens. So you drop the 3 tokens, so you're back down to 3. But mark a condition or doom to keep control, or do as you said you would.
Yeah, ghosts start coming out of the cabinets and through the wall, and Novella is actually a little frightened, and Clara is definitely frightened. Their faces like change like 10 times over. Novella's frightened, but also like kind of has that like, wait, did I do this? Can I do this? Is this me? Do I have, can I do this? And because one of my powers of darkness is let the dead speak, I'm just giving them permission to talk. So there's just this chatter of ghosts talking.
Yes, there is a cacophony of ghostly voices. And I think this is the moment where this is happening as Sojourn is walked up to the desk and like slammed her hands on the desk and where are the files? Give us the files. And you rolled a 6
Well, I did.
on grasping keys.
I feel like we've already seen more than we were ready for, but
You broke the police.
Yeah. So you may choose to mark doom to still get a key.
oh yeah.
But in doing so, the keeper will reveal to you how you may become a harbinger of the apocalypse. I'm gonna put that one on Novella, honestly, because I think that makes the most sense in this situation. To show how Novella may become a harbinger of the apocalypse.
Oh.
Let some more of those ghosts out.
Yeah, I think that you like as more ghosts start to pull themselves out of the walls and the cabinets and the there's one that's like pulling itself out of the ceiling lights, and the rest of the room starts to kind of fade for you. Like as you're pulling these ghosts into your world, they're pulling you out. And Clara is not coming with you.
Oh no. I don't like that.
And that is where we're going to take our first break.
That's good. Okay.
So does 5 minutes work for everybody?
Yep.
So I will see everybody at 7 after. All right, I'm actually gonna. We're restarted. We can actually go now. All right, we're gonna hop over to the warehouse pair, I believe, and so, Hope, you were kind of taking the initiative here, and going in to explore more of this warehouse. So, what are you doing? How are you going about this?
Um, I'm going to I'm going to wait until the horse clops. Actually, I'm going to do something else first. Um, um, I'm gonna reach in my bag, mark Doom,
Always a good sign.
and pull out a circlet that nobody has here has ever seen before. It's made. It seems to be made of sort of tarnished, heavily tarnished brass, maybe. And I'm going to put it on.
And what happens when you put it on?
Giannis, when I put it on, you can tell what I'm feeling even more.
I think he sort of, he sort of like, before he generally has this sort of distracted demeanor about him, and I think he's like his back straightens and he sort of turns and like looks at you when you slip it on, like all of a sudden like you gave some sort of ping or signal.
I'm worried that we're dealing with something that uses emotional manipulation. I dreamed about it, and in the morning I had this. It's something to help me fight back, maybe. You can feel it, can't you?
I can. It's
None of these dream weapons are a good idea.
it makes your feelings very loud.
I'm sorry.
It's not necessarily bad. It's not like a scream. It's just more like it's like you had listened to loud music for a long time and then were trying to talk to someone at a normal volume, but you forgot what normal volume was.
Oh.
You remember Jim back at division headquarters that would always play like that loud stuff he called metal music, which was weird because none of it was actually made with metal. It was really confusing. And Janus starts basically sort of pacing on the ceiling. You're not sure how he got up there, but he's just like walking around.
Janus, I pulled you down off the ceiling.
And
we don't want that thing up there.
He falls awkwardly.
We don't want that thing to hear. I'm going to try to look at it, see what we're dealing with.
So you're looking through the crown?
No, The crowns, no, the crowns just the stuff that I pull out of dreams are all weapons.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's all that this power knows. That power knows how to do. No, I'm preparing for the worst. So I'm going to have to look by actually standing on a box through Giannis's shoulders, and I'm putting my head through the floor.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
So
Yeah, this sounds like you are definitely grasping for keys here because you are
okay, we can call
using your powers to gather information, right?
Yeah. Okay. By the way, Humphrey, as usual, is sitting on a box, kind of watching, but mostly napping.
Is Humphrey sitting in a box, an empty box?
Of course, he's sitting in an empty box. He is the unfailing empty box detector. If you could put an empty box 3 buildings away, and he would find it. Or a suitcase. Suitcase would also work, as long as it's not closed. I'll spend 2 tokens.
Awesome.
Eight. Hit it.
All right. On an 8, you uncover a key to the apocalypse. The keeper of the doors will tell you what it is. So what you find when you stick your head through the ceiling. Yeah, are you actually like phasing through the ceiling, or are you actually like breaking a hole in the crappy?
No, I am phasing through the ceiling.
Okay.
I'm frightened of whatever's up there, and I want to spy on it without being seen or perceived. So okay. No, I'm gonna phase.
So I think Giannis can also kind of feel this thing upstairs. There's like this, it's almost like a void of emotion. It's not, you can't feel that there's a thing there, but it's blocking everything behind it. Like you can kind of feel just like the faintest emotions from like the small animals and the birds and the insects and everything that are just kind of all around you, but there's like a black spot in this usual field that you see. It's almost like an eclipse. And when Hope sticks her head through the ceiling, that moves rapidly. It like flies down the side of the building, and as Hope sticks her head up, you get this wisp of black cloud that kind of rushes over your head and down the hallway that you've kind of stuck your head into. There's like this thin kind of metal walkway that runs along the top of what look like small rooms, and you can kind of look to your right into the bigger warehouse itself. And on the ground next to you that had basically gotten caught in your hair is a solid chunk of this smoke that is almost like this black cloth at this point, but when you look at it, it looks like smoke, but you can pick it up and wave it around like it's a piece of fabric.
I whip it in my bag and I dump out something. It's a jar of pecans, and I stuff it in there. Is there anything else in this warehouse? Is there the bodies?
Yeah. So you look out into the center of this warehouse, which is significantly better lit. There's these big kind of spotlights that are shining down into the center of this large open space. And it is currently housing what looks like 4 large crates. And that's it. That's everything that's in this warehouse. Normally you would have like big stacks of boxes and kind of shipping containers and things, and there's space for all of that. But it's mostly empty, and there's just these big 4 kind of boxes that are set out in the middle of the room.
I'm gonna reach down and reach Giannis a hand.
Let's see,
And
you're
pull him-
looking to pull him up, or
Yes,
okay, he comes.
I pull you through and help you get your legs all the way out from the floor before I let go of you.
Okay, he
Good idea.
keeps actually floating upwards just a little bit higher than you meant to pull
Oh,
him.
that's actually, that makes it much easier then.
Yeah, he feels almost
Watch-
weightless for a second as you're
watch-
pulling him through. And
Watch
then-
out, there's a dark thing. I don't know what it is. It just swept over me. Didn't hurt, but it
I
was
felt something move, or
was-
I felt nothing move.
like
A very
smoke.
definite nothing.
It was like smoke, except it's kind of solid. Part of it's sort of solid. Look, I trapped some in a jar, or got some in a jar. I don't think I trapped it. I picked it up. There are the coffins. Why are they here? What is this thing? Why does it make horse clops?
And I think Giannis has the jar, and he shakes it a little bit to see if it makes a clop, and if there's anything solid about it when he's shaking the jar.
It doesn't make any more noise than if you had stuck a napkin in a jar and shaken it around. It really doesn't sound like much.
Okay.
But it also isn't like doing the blocking thing. Like you can still sense through it.
I wish Novella was here.
Well,
She could make sense of these bodies.
maybe I can figure out something.
Maybe
I
you
mean,
can. Do they
maybe-
still feel and think after they're dead? I think something.
Well, Novella does, so it stands to reason that some other people might too.
I never thought about that. Okay.
Um,
I'll keep an eye out for the thing.
Yeah. It might help if you sort of stood back a bit, because the headband, or the circlet seems to it's noisy.
Okay. Are you going to go down there?
Yeah. Yes.
I'll stay up
yes.
here. I'll stay up here on the catwalk.
Okay, and he hops down.
Giannis,
Mhm.
you are trained for this. You have done this many times. For various division projects, you've had to infiltrate places, and it is very obvious from the position on the catwalk that there are a lot of security cameras in this room, and there are a lot of spotlights that are lined up specifically to kind of make sure that everything in this room is illuminated and seen by anyone who might be watching those cameras. What do you do?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Well, I think as Giannis sort of looks around, he sees the lights and things like that, and he says, "Oh, it's hard to get anyone to talk when that much light is on them. Nobody likes to talk to a spotlight. So, he's going to basically just sort of reach out and nudge the lights and cameras just to look away for a little bit. It's awkward. It becomes really performative when you have that many lights and cameras on you, and we want authenticity. We don't want performance, right? So he he's just sort of asked the cameras, just
You're making a movie.
just don't be quite so
I love you.
so intrusive. Look away. Look away.
I love that.
Hope's getting the giggles.
Um,
And he's I'm thinking, I'm not sure. I think this, I mean, this might be him sort of doing his, weird, creepy monster thing. So this could be him being the monster just to get this part done. And then maybe it might be, grasping keys if he manages to get this to work.
I think, yeah. So I think this is, for now at least, I think this is Unleash the Dark.
Okay.
Sorry, Be the Monster.
Be the monster, yes.
Okay.
So, once you get down there and actually have access to these crates, then I think we can start grasping for keys.
Okay. He burned up his darkness earlier, so he doesn't have any currently. So it's going to be like just a regular straight up roll.
What are your triggers? Here's the foundry.
Let's see. That's a 7.
That is a 7. Do you want to burn your second bond with hope?
I think that's I think that's important enough for us to get that. So I think he's going to do that.
Okay.
And I think it's basically he has to, in order to kind of get the cameras and lights and everything to pay attention to something else, I think he has to sort of grab a little bit of the of that empathic resonance that circlet has. And so it's really it's a lot more forceful than I think he wanted it to be.
Hope grabs your temples and goes, "Oh my God, be careful."
Yeah, and I think like you can see like it's usually everything he does is just seems so effortless. Like he rarely struggles with it doing anything because it always feels like he's just doing something that comes completely naturally. But this is awkwardly forceful. You can tell it's like he's having to pull and strain to make this part work.
Yeah, I like that. So on an 8 to 10, you and the monster act as one, and you do it. So, describe what we see in the comic panels as you kind of gently convince the lights and cameras to look away and give you some privacy.
I think the cameras are all on a pan. They're trying to cover a lot of ground, and they're trying to basically they have these interlocking sweeps normally. Like so, there's never any part of it that's ever out of camera. It's obviously they're trying to make sure and keep everything in here like quantum. They don't want anything loose. What he does is he just sort of adjusts that window a little bit, convinces them to sort of like synchronize a little bit more so that one slows down a little, one speeds up a little in each zone, and eventually they're all moving away at the same time. And the same deal with the spotlights, they dim a little bit, almost like a brownout sort of situation. Like they fade a little during the time when he's down there, and they'll brighten back up as he finishes.
I like that. So you've got this kind of dance where you're moving in one direction and the cameras are moving away, and you've kind of just like walk between where the cameras are looking. That's a lot of fun. I really like that.
And I think it probably looks like a really awkward like walking dance, like you might see in an odd old musical. Like he's just sort of moving through. It would be like it would be like a swerve here, a step there, moving back and forth, and it's never fast. It's just it's a walking kind of thing. He's not running or parkour or anything like that. But it's a purposeful, like rhythmic movement through each of these little camera and light zones.
I love that. And as you get closer to these boxes. There's something stamped on the side that's very obvious. What is stamped on the side, and why are you scared?
Oh, I think the stamp on the side, it's a couple of different things that individually none of the things would be particularly upsetting. Let's say you've got like a base like shipping UPC type code stamped on that was just for these crates themselves. Like this was to get the crates here. They're labeled so that this particular container was labeled when it was purchased. Then there was a subsequent stamp when it was bought and designated for this region by the division. So there's a division stamp like right on top of that one. Just another tag. And then there's a third tag that's basically this particular warehouse. And like it's all of those things kind of overlapping that basically creates this image. And it is one of the hieroglyphs from that odd temple where he was taken. He doesn't remember what it exactly means because again, his memories have been completely broken by coming through over here. But it's those things where he sees it and I think Hope kind of gets this wave of emotion from him because you've got that empathic amplification thing on. I think maybe you're, because this is so forceful from him, like he is absolutely frightened for the first real fright emotion I think you've ever seen him display. Like his eyes widen and he sort of rocks back on the balls of his feet like he's standing against a wind. And he starts breathing quick and shallow breaths, like he's trying to manage like a panic attack. And he whispers audibly, just enough for you to hear. He's not yelling, but it feels as powerful as a yell. Not here, not yet. And he's just sort of muttering that with these quick, shallow breaths, again, like he's trying to manage manage something equivalent to a panic attack for him.
Okay, I'm going to try to calm him down from a distance.
Do we want to reach for the light here, or
yes, absolutely.
Is Giannis listening to the dark?
Might be one and then the other. I'm reaching for the light.
Okay,
but you can choose. We can choose what order it goes in.
I think if this doesn't work, then listen to the dark is definitely up next.
He can tell my emotions without my even having to try.
Yeah, and he gets a base read off everybody. So yeah.
And no, because especially because of the circlet. I'm wearing a emotional projective weapon. And I'm not trying to use it because it's a weapon, but it leaks, as we know. And Hope loves Giannis, even though he doesn't love her back. And Hope says wordlessly, she is filled with delight. She is trying hard not to laugh out loud because what he did just now was so amazing and wonderful, and the way everything danced, and then he got down there and it was like watching a show, like watching a ballet with lighting effects, and then you're fucking amazing. That's what she's thinking at him. There's no one like you in the universe. And that's how she's connecting. And I'm going to spend 2 and 4. I have 11
That is an 11.
I'm going to call on my little monster to crank it down to 10. I feel Humphrey sinks his teeth into my hand gently at the last moment, and it breaks my concentration, so I don't overdo it. And I go, ow. And then I realize what happened. Oh, thank you. So that pulls it down to 10.
That's amazing. Humphrey's the best.
Yeah, he's so perfect for my little monster. It's
Yeah. So on a 10 plus, each of you get to gain or lose 3 tokens, create a new bond, clear a condition, mark XP, or clear some doom. And I think while you guys are deciding mechanically what to do there, I think we're going to swap over to our ghost cowboy duo. And Sojourn, you can feel the room start to get darker. It's so imperceptible that you can't see it, and the 2 humans in the room definitely can't see it, but you can feel the chill. You can feel the world getting colder, and almost like the very life and warmth is getting sucked out of the air. And out of the corner of your eye, you can see Novella start to fade out, almost like a camera losing focus. And you have threatened this policeman, and Adriano kind of rolls his eyes. Fine, if that's what's going to get you guys out of here, then you guys can do that. Nothing's classified. Everything's in the newspapers, but here, fine. And he goes over to a cabinet and starts ruffling through cabinets, giving you a moment to turn around and start and kind of deal with what's happening with Novella.
Yeah, I think I hold up a finger to him, and I just say, quiet. And I stride across the room, though it's not a big room. So I just sort of take a step towards Novella. And I think because she's fading, my first instinct, whether it's right or not, is to grab her, just to sort of put my hand on her.
Novella, you are getting pulled into darkness. Your world is truly getting darker, and everything is fading, and everything is kind of dimming as the ghosts from the room around you start to kind of pull themselves and intrude on your psyche, on your world. And in front of you is Sojourn. And she is solid. She's not fading out like the rest of everything.
I think that my first thought is that it's only appropriate that Sojourn is here when I die for real as well. But I look and see Sojourn solid, and I look and see I try to see Clara, and she's kind of blurry and fading, and I just reach out my hand, hoping that Sojourn can pull me back.
This the most appropriate literal reach for the glowing light person.
All right.
Move towards the light is appropriate in this case.
I'm gonna try just one token. We'll see what happens. 12.
Good
Even
thing
with
you
one
spent
token,
two.
it's still a 12. Jeez.
Oh my
Right,
god.
police station.
It's not so bad. It's just
On an 11 plus, you choose one of the benefits, but you also reveal something you didn't mean to, miss something important, or destroy something beautiful you share.
Okay. Let me look at my character sheet here. I think I'm going to create a new bond with Sojourn. So I go from 1 to 2. And I destroy something beautiful we share. I don't know what that is. I think that's what it is, though. I think it's always destroy something beautiful.
Is
Or
it
I
the
reveal
lock?
what I didn't mean to. I'll take pitches, either destroy something beautiful or reveal what I didn't mean to.
Is it the locket?
I think that was already destroyed. New one.
Is there some, or like, was there some lingering power in the locket that was like,
I think Clara goes instead of me. I think Clara's gone. I'm back and Clara's gone. For the first time since she's come back, Novella's face is her own. Clearly, no skipping around, no exchanging with Clara. It's her, and she just starts crying.
and what does Sojourn get out of this?
Oh, I think I'm gonna mark XP just to
Okay.
get me the advance.
That's reasonable, but
Uh,
Novella,
yeah.
you reach out to Sojourn, and she's solid. You're able to grab onto her shoulder, pull yourself back. But this room wanted something. You've brought these things into existence, and they would not be denied. And I think you can still feel her. You know she's there, but she isn't manifesting. She's too far past the gates. She can't fall back to this world. And so at this strange kind of apparition that just happened, the Michaela and Adriano are like kind of staring at each other, don't really know what just happened. They saw the ghost just start kind of frying in front of them. And I think Adriano kind of comes around and he genuinely looks concerned.
Sojourn we're still sort of looking at each other, and I make eye contact with Novella, and I just simply say, "You're okay."
That's one word for it, I suppose. I'm here.
Oh, did you miss something important?
I'm trying to decide. If I'm missing something important or if I reveal what I didn't mean to.
Mm.
I don't know what that is yet. Maybe, actually, I did have an idea. Maybe her name was Michaela. Is it possible that she's more interested and more attuned to all of this than she lets on? And that I missed that she's, I don't know, recording it with her phone or something like that.
I love that. That is pretty good. And yeah, so I think that this is the moment that the two of you are distracted with each other, and she's able to like quickly like stop the recording and put it in her pocket or something. Like she had been recording the meeting beforehand, just as like she was recording the meeting for her own sakes, and now this has all happened, and she takes that and pockets it.
Maybe even like sends it to someone or
Who
something.
knows?
You know, I like that.
Hmm.
And to her sister, who's a division agent.
Mm.
I think Adriano walks over to the two of you and hands Sojourn the small stack of kind of file folders. And is everything okay?
I think Sojourn doesn't know how to deal with these feelings of care and nurturing. And I think the scene that's I'm picturing in my head, let me know if this is not appropriate, is Adriana walks over and she immediately feels like, hey, you're ruining my moment here. So she's already pulled out a revolver and has it sort of pointed at him. Like as he walks over, she's just sort of still eye contact with Novella, but she's like, back off.
Whoa, okay, whoa, hold on, whoa. Just trying to make sure everything's okay. You don't have to pull a gun on me. Are you, I think Sojourn is maybe listening to the dark right now. Because you're dealing with forceful emotional turmoil.
Yeah, that feels pretty right, yeah. Because of my marked condition, I take a +2 to listen to the dark. So that'll be great. Rolled an 8. Wow.
So that's a 10, or is it?
No, that includes
7.
the +2. Sorry.
Okay, sounds good.
That's awesome. On an 8 to 10, you managed to keep yourself together. And what insight do you gain about the darkness?
So one of my darkness demands is to be the downfall of those that I care for. And I think I care for Novella more than I realized. Like maybe I had always just sort of thought of us as colleagues and like we're sort of maybe legit friends, like good friends, because she doesn't have very many friends. I don't have very many friends. So I have this moment of guilt. Like, is this happening because of me?
Sojourn, you can put the gun away. Adriano, I want to see one of the crime scenes. The newest one, the freshest one. Will the files take us there, or can you?
All right, hang on. You can see that he's got his hand on his pistol. And as Sojourn lowers her gun, he takes his hand off the pistol, hands you the set of files. It says, "Look, I'm busy right now. Like I've got so much." And he gestures to just like a full inbox on his desk. But you know who could let you in to City Hall and show you the most recent crime scene? And points at Michaela.
I hope you're nicer than your sister.
And she, that definitely gets a chuckle out of her.
That's the one who flooded the police station with ghosts.
And so you did get a key from earlier that we still haven't gotten around to. The key that you guys got out of this scene, you are looking through the set of files, and it's not just this newest one that happened at City Hall. There are probably 3/4 of them happened within a block of City, which on the one hand isn't that surprising, since a lot of the folks who were murdered were city politicians, but also that's a very small area. I think that is our 4th key. Yeah, 4th.
Yes.
So I think that's a good spot to end that scene. If you guys are good with that. I know we're a little bit early, but I feel like this is probably the best spot we're going to get for the second break. If you guys want to do maybe a longer break, 10 minutes, be back at the top of the hour. Cool.
Okay.
In that case, I will see you all in 10 minutes. All right, we are back from our break. And so we have kind of resolved the stuff that's going on in the precinct. So let us hop over to these crates, because Giannis is right in front of this crate that has a ancient hieroglyph. Is this a hieroglyph of the people that you were back in your other dimension, or is this something of the people that brought you here?
Well, since it's the division that brought him back here, I think this is from the temple where the division found him in that little offshoot pocket dimension, and it is a hieroglyph specifically of the group that created him, and presumably, like, possibly positioned him as a herald of the apocalypse. Like, that part's still up in the air, but the symbol that he recognized from those overlapping tags is from there, and obviously it had some sort of like imminent foreboding for him as to what it might mean in this particular location.
Yeah, I love
But
that.
hope is sort of pull him back from that precipice, and so he can maybe make some sense of these crates now.
Yeah, so you're in a position where the cameras are off for a short amount of time. The lights have dimmed. You've kind of overcome your emotional state, and now you're at the point where they're out in front of you. What do you do?
I think he's going to try and get some kind of read off the agents that are in these crates. If any part of their spirits or emotional matrices are still present, excuse me, he will try and see if he can find out what, as
Why
best
they
he can,
died.
what really happened.
Yeah, I like
Why?
that.
So
Oh yeah, this is definitely grasping for keys with your kind of emotional attunement.
okay, and I think he will. I'm gonna spend 2 of my current 3 darkness. And see if I can make this work. That is a 9.
That is a 9.
Hit it.
Awesome.
Ooh.
On a 8 to 9, you get a key, and I tell you what it is. So, the key that you find is that you have let's say that you've tried to do this before with other dead bodies, corpses. This isn't like a new trick that you're doing. And what kind of happens is the last emotions that they end up feeling get kind of imprinted on the body, and you can kind of sense the like residual energy. Does that kind of fit? Make sense? So I think the strangeness of all of this is that even through the boxes, their emotions are much stronger than you would expect. And it's not like the normal mix of like fear and usually it's fear and loss and regret and those kind of emotions that stick around on dead bodies. This is like this almost resonant single note of a different emotion in each person. So there's one crate that is just like pinging back and forth, resonating of anger, and there's one that's resonating back and forth of trauma and like a severe loss, and there's one that's just absolutely euphoric. And it feels like they like this isn't a this isn't a normal thing at all.
So it feels like each one of them basically had a single emotion basically turned up to 11 right as they died.
Even more than that, they are
Times.
still kind of giving off this emotion.
Okay. Are they actually dead?
Probably.
Take a look.
I wouldn't put it past the division to stuff a live person into a crate. I mean,
Yeah,
the division's done weirder things, I'm sure.
Has done weirder things.
Look.
Hope, what powers does this crown give you? Emotional attunement.
This crown's a projective emotional weapon.
Okay.
If the wearer feels an emotion strongly, you can attack with it.
I like that. And so I
It,
feel like
it only has weird bleed off because Giannis is so sensitive to emotions. But
yeah,
you know,
I think you're watching Giannis from this kind of position on the catwalk where you are.
yeah.
And I think Humphrey meows next to you and like runs behind your leg.
Oh, shit.
And you look down the catwalk, and at the far end of it is what looks like a cloud of smoke.
That thing again.
Yes.
And is it going for Giannis?
No. It is standing at the end of the catwalk, and it is The smoke is in roughly a quadrupedal shape.
Like a
It's kind of awkward and distended, but if you could give it a motion that is attributed to normal quadrupedal things, it is like sniffing around, like a dog that's curious about something, and it is moving towards you.
I don't think I want to tangle with this thing. I try to get Giannis's attention, keeping an eye on this darkness.
I think you can communicate pretty easily with Giannis just by thinking about it. You think, oh shit, Giannis, and he is already
Giannis.
looking at you.
Yeah, you see me backing up on the catwalk, eyes fixed on this thing.
I think,
okay. Shit. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to think, okay, what would my sisters do? And I'll do ashes to ashes.
Let's see. I think
makes sense. Yeah.
I think what Giannis does is he, from where he's on amongst the crates, I think he basically does a jump to where he's walking on the ceiling in that little room before, and starts walking toward the smoke, the smoky shape, basically positioning himself eventually with the ceiling walk between Hope and this thing.
Sam, I'm afraid of this thing. I'm gonna trigger ashes to ashes to see if I can figure out what my sisters would do.
All right, roll plus darkness.
Okay. I just generated some, so I can spend it.
That is 8. Right on the money. That is an 8.
And what it, yeah, so it says I can choose 2.
Choose 2.
Okay. Answer any question.
All right. What is your question?
Honestly, with great detail. Okay. Is this thing my enemy?
Is this thing your enemy?
In other words, should I, basically,
okay.
Should I, right. Hope is thinking about lashing out, and she is not sure this is wise. And somebody must, and so she remembers something.
Okay.
About things like this.
So there maybe was another version of you that encountered one of these things, and you're linking into that like hive mind almost. Yes. I think the answer is not inherently. This thing is not, it is dangerous, but it is it is dangerous in the way that a stegosaurus is going to maul you with its tail if it thinks you are a threat.
Okay. Okay. Deep breath. The other thing I will take is I'm going to I'm going to see a prophecy in this thing. I'm going to see something, some fallout from this that affects the other monsters, and give them each 2 to 4 darkness as targets.
I love that. And so
Okay.
what I think happens,
So I'm going to let it approach.
does this thing, so yeah, so okay. I think this thing gives you the prophecies hanging over your fellow monsters. And Sojourn, Giannis, and Novella, if each of you can give me something that you haven't done yet, but you are ashamed of. Something that you have been tempted to do, not done, but you are potentially ashamed that you even thought about doing it, and you would be very ashamed if you went through with it.
Is this like big, like use your dark powers kind of stuff, or can this be small?
Either one.
I am feeling an acute sense of shame right now because I am reminded of the fact that I have tried to get rid of Clara before.
I feel like Sojourn thinks of herself as an angel, sees kind of her wings, her angelic wings, feels the power of angels, but has never actually gone out of her way to do a good deed, like to do good in the world. And that's just not really in her personality. So she feels conflicted about that.
And what is Giannis ashamed of?
I think Giannis's perception of time is really mucked up, and he is still trying to understand kind of consistently how time works. And because of that, like he has, and he will continue to have very awkward moments with like everyone that he's trying to be friends with about particular points in time. Birthdays are like the worst. He has in the past, like not understood the concept of a birthday or time or, where he was supposed to be or how things were supposed to work. So he would say, surprise, happy birthday, like an hour before the party to the person that others were planning a surprise party for, and he is terrified in the future that this is going to become awkward in ways that won't just be funny, but will be hurtful, like actually hurtful. He's come to the point where he understands that how death works in this particular universe, and he is terrified that he's going to accidentally like talk over something and like let slip some detail of death actually already experienced, but maybe they haven't yet. And it's not something that they can change because it's happened, obviously. So like it's going to be like the worst sort of spoiler. And he is sad, awkward, and ashamed of how he knows this will work out, because he knows it's going to happen because it's already happened, and he doesn't feel like there's any way for him to not have it happen again.
Yeah, that's good. So each of you get 2 to 4 tokens of darkness. So take that as many as you want. And hope, as this thing is stalking towards you, there's a moment where you feel like it looks straight at you.
Oh, I know.
And in that moment, you get all of these thoughts in your head, not emotions. You get doubts. You feel like Giannis is going to abandon you and forget about you. You feel like Novella is going to leave and go, and she never cared about the group, and she only cares about her sister and her mission. And you get the feeling that Sojourn is a ticking time bomb, and you are sure that she's going to destroy you and everything you love.
She already has, and she already has actually several times.
And then it looks away, and the thoughts linger for a second, and then they kind of fade.
You're an amplifier. We need to get the others, Giannis. I think I know what happened.
What is Giannis doing?
He had been walking on the ceiling towards this thing, and I think as Hope says that to him, he sort of slows and kind of looks in her direction and says, "But if we don't keep it here, it could go somewhere else. We could lose it. It's only barely here at all."
That's right. But we need everyone here when we deal with this. It just looked at me for a moment, and it almost took me down.
I think Giannis is sort of like, he sort of looks like he's kind of moving to be between you and it. As you say that, he says, "Will our phones work?
Yeah.
Can we call?
Yeah.
Can we call them?"
Of course. I'm so stupid. I pull out my phone. Pick up the phone, Sojourn.
So Dan has stepped away for a second.
Okay.
You could, I guess, call Novella. Does that work?
The division's figured out a way.
Does Novella have a ghost phone?
I'm imagining.
You're muted, Checks.
I have a
Novella
suggestion.
has like, it's, there some ghost somewhere has to plug in some cords like the old timey phones. And
I'm imagining what I imagine is that you hear an old fashioned phone ring. Okay. And Novella looks to one side, and there is, late 1800s era telephone, candlestick phone that she picks up and puts to her ear, as if there's some spectral table that moves around with her wherever she goes.
Yeah, I was thinking kind of the same thing. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Novella picks up. Can the people around us see this?
I have to assume that Sojourn at least knows what's going on.
Yeah.
You guys are in the street right now, so Novella is pretty washed out in mid daylight. So I don't think most people can see what's going on, but Sojourn is acute enough to see this.
Yeah, so I take the thing and yes.
Come to this address quickly. Come in through the roof. quietly if you can. Or tell me when you're just outside and I'll pull you in. Don't go in through any of the doors.
Okay, this is the warehouse?
Yes.
Okay.
We found the thing, but I don't know what to do with it.
Okay. Sojourn, how do you feel about us going back to the warehouse, skipping this crime scene?
She looks irritated, just sort of shakes her head.
Hope, how long do we have? We really have.
We'll keep an eye on it, but hurry.
We have a loose end we need to tie up.
Okay. Okay.
Are they in danger?
Are you in danger?
I don't think so. But there's something very dangerous here that could get away.
Yeah, they're in danger, Sojourn.
I was going to say, we should go.
All right. We'll be there as soon as we can be.
In the meantime, I'm going to see if I can get a key from my interaction with this thing, because that was a hell of a clue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's roll grasping for keys.
Spend the usual 2. Since it loaded me up again.
That is an 8 again.
Look at me roll those.
Right on the money. Yeah. So you are slowly backing away from this thing, right?
I was.
And I think
And then it looked at me and it froze. And it looked away.
I think you take a step backwards and your foot slips in a puddle of some kind of like dark green liquid. It's almost the color of like some kind of mold or fungus. It's this like greenish brown, almost black kind of viscous liquid that's kind of pooled out.
Where's it coming from?
It doesn't look like it's coming from anywhere right now, but this is a big pool of it right here. And it is kind of smeared around the rest of the catwalk. Now that you're looking around, you can see these little bits of it kind of everywhere.
What is it? Giannis, what is this stuff? Can you tell?
I think Janice sort of tries to turn and focus on the stuff that she's pointing to.
So you're taking your attention away from the thing that is stalking towards you.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Janice is foolishly fearless about this sort of stuff. Like physical well-being doesn't always register with him. So
God damn it! I should have.
Okay.
So he's going to try and basically just open his awareness to that stuff and see if he can see what it is.
So are you using what move are you using here?
Let's see. I'm thinking I think it's probably be the monster, I would guess, just because of kind of what he's trying to do. He's basically opening that sort of weird awareness he has to try and get a read off of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like it's closer to that than any of the other moves, I think.
Yeah.
So, see,
Yeah,
I'll spend
I like that.
I'll spend 1 point of darkness to kind of get myself to that. So
Okay.
let me mark off 1 darkness. And
It's a
let's
7.
see. That is a 7.
The darkness within you will take what it demands. The keeper of doors will say what happens next.
Can I try on can I try to aid him?
So you can roll reach for the light.
Yeah.
To aid another in.
That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm basically trying to give him a bond that he can use right away, right?
Yeah. So that's essentially
Okay.
what it does.
All right. That's the rest of my darkness. Okay, charm dice to me.
That is a 9. You are rolling like gangbusters right now.
I usually get uncork the 11s and 12s all over the place.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So that pushes Giannis up to an 8, which is right on the money. And also Hope gets to pick a thing.
Yeah.
So Giannis, what does this look like? As your
And yeah, by the way, the form that takes is I'm thinking Giannis kind of reaches out to touch it, and Hope takes hold of your wrist with both hands gently and says, "No, you don't have to do that. We don't know what this does." And there's a tenderness in that touch.
And I think he like looks at the stuff again and looks at you and nods a little confused, but you know, and he just sort of so instead of trying to make physical contact with it, he just focuses his perceptions on it, and you see his eyes get that sort of vague, not quite glow, but maybe a gloss to them, like as he's taking a deep look at this thing, at this stuff. And
yeah, so as you're staring at this thick, viscous green liquid that's kind of sprayed everywhere, you can almost feel this like this blockage that you had been seeing before. Instead of trying to look through a wall, now you're looking through a frosted window where you can still feel a little bit through it, but it's almost like dissipating and diffusing everything that's coming through it, and it's like trying to block what's going on. And you kind of like look around, and you can see that there are patches of it that look like hoof prints that have been kind of stamped out on this metal walkway. And you turn around, and this thing is right up next to both of you.
Yep. And flinch from it.
Does your crown amplify that fear?
Yeah, it's a weapon.
So you guys both rolled really well on this. So I think what happens is the crown kind of lets off this blast of energy, or like kind of mental, emotional energy towards this thing. And it blows back this smoke that is kind of covering it. And it is the most ridiculous looking thing you have ever seen. The best way to describe it is a wolf that is entirely covered in goat hair and has goat hooves, except its head is a perfect sphere the size of a beach ball. And it has these short little like goat horns sticking out of the top of its head, and this huge mouth that is like hurling in panic, and it's trying to like scramble backwards to get back into this smoke screen that it has been using. And it's got these like little beady glowing red eyes that are kind of sticking out of everything. And it like yelps in panic and starts to like scramble backwards away from the two of you. I think this is an opportune moment for Sojourn and Novella
Yes.
to show up potentially if
Yep.
I feel it's not that far. It's not a big city. And if Sojourn was interested in deploying some amount of powers, this would be you would definitely be able to get here in time by this point.
I do feel like as soon as Novella hung up, I just took off, assuming that Novella would make her own way in her own way. And I'm picturing Sojourn kind of coming in through the roof and just sort of landing on top of the beast.
All pretense of stealth and
Right.
protection just out the window.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, she's almost annoyed, like, you called us here for this, a beach ball.
And
Oh God. Sorry.
yeah,
go for it.
so why doesn't Sojourn roll to be the monster here? Because I think that's what's happening.
Happily.
And while that's happening, Novella, why don't you kind of describe how you're getting here and what your entrance looked like?
This is maybe too much. I don't know. I think I Mary Poppins it, right? Because we established last time that I can do that with my umbrella. So yeah, I think we get a scene of me kind of floating in delicately behind Sojourn.
I love that. Dan, what'd you get?
I rolled an 11.
On 11, the darkness within you will take what it. Sorry, the monster goes too far, and there's a complication, worse outcome, or hard choice. Okay. The complication, worse outcome, or hard choice. You definitely land on top of this thing and slam into it, and the like kind of this smoke that it had been using as cover scatters, and you can see that it's like trying to pull it back and reform it, and it is already beat to hell. The back end of this thing is just ripped to shreds. It is bleeding this green black
It's
like
explosive.
gunk that is like pouring out of one of its legs, and you go too far, and it like if you continue with your current course of action, you will kill it very quickly.
Okay, I react.
So the hard choice here is that you can either ease up and it will get an opportunity to look at someone, or like get off one of these weird amplification hits, or you entirely take it out.
May I offer a different complication?
Sure.
Okay. When Sojourn comes through and hits this thing, and Hope has a tremendous flash of anger. And I haven't taken the circlet off yet. And it blasts Sojourn full force.
So if you're okay with that, I think that's going to be potentially a condition as this emotional energy washes over you.
No! What are you doing? And then the bolt lances out and Hope snatches the thing off of her head. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
So, Sojourn, you are currently on top of this thing as it is scrambling and trying to get out from under you. Giannis or Novella, you guys have an opportunity to act here.
I was really hoping I can use my Death Walked here move this session, which is Death reaches all places and into the heart of all things. When you seek to reconstruct events or learn something valuable in an area, roll plus darkness. So I don't know. I feel like that could be beneficial here, but like Chris, if you have any cool ideas, I'm willing to save that for next time too.
I don't know. I mean, you like 4 dead agents like right here. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
I can't pass that up. I want to see how that works out.
No, absolutely. Although we have a little scene going on here.
I honestly love the idea that Novella just kind of walks past this fight, and we get the panel of Novella's like floating down to the ground, and there's this scuffle going on in the background that you can barely see.
I think
that's hilarious.
she's used to fighting. You know, she's used to her party members fighting. I think it happens not unoften. Yeah, so I'm gonna roll. I think I'm just gonna roll with 1 darkness. This I feel like I love that like the math of this is so messed up in my head, and I never know like what I actually want to use as a modifier.
Is that
All
that
right.
is a 4?
That is a 4. On a 7 minus, the darkness within you takes hold, and the keeper will tell you how the darkness stalks you now. You can mark doom or a condition to get away from them for a while, but still expect the worst. I'm going to mark doom. I've been having fun marking doom. So.
Yeah. So the darkness within you takes hold. So I think this is a perfect kind of way to end this session. As you are floating down to this, these 4 crates that are set up, and you start to try and channel this energy from the world around you, trying to understand what happened here. You get flashes, you get single kind of like freeze frames of this hulking figure, this black, kind of massive, almost demon-looking character that you recognize as an agent, just blood red in his eyes, absolutely furious, ripping apart another person. You get this flash of a young woman sobbing with with two people around her trying desperately to console her as she basically sobs herself to death. And you are seeing all of these flashes of intense pain and agony, in every single one there are these red eyes in the background. And as you get closer to these crates, these get more and more intense, and you start to see more of the scene, and you see a figure in black that you don't recognize. A dark, cloaked figure standing just outside of your vision, and every time you turn to look at them, they're not there. And how your darkness approaches. I think this rune, this hieroglyph that Giannis recognized, has more power than you thought. And I think that it is designed to keep the dead contained. And it is designed to keep these cases secure. And Novella presents a threat to that. And you start to feel yourself get pulled towards these crates as this binding ritual starts to take hold. And I think that is a good spot to close up and leave us on a cliffhanger.
More than one.
A couple of cliffhangers. So with that, I will say thank you all to anybody who's watching this, anybody on YouTube, or anybody who's listening to this in podcast form. Thank you very much. You can check out more games like this and many others at thegauntlet-rpg.com. And links will be down in the description. If you sign up for games on the Hangouts, then potentially I'll get to play with you eventually. And if so, then I will see you soon. Until then, bye everyone.